Welcome to the World's Toughest Mudder Prediction Show. I'm honored to have with me Ken Jacobus, who pretty much everyone in the obstacle racing and World's Toughest Mudder community knows. And on top of that, we have Brady Archer, who has the craziest title I've ever heard. He is the Senior Field of Play and Back of House Ops Supervisor for this year's World's Toughest Mudder, aka he built this course. So guys, let's get to this, and we'll start off with you, Brady. Tell me about this course and what we're going to expect to see this weekend.
So we came out here to Lake Las Vegas in April and had our first event here, and at that point we actually hadn't decided where we wanted to have World's Toughest this year. And as soon as we got on site, we found some pretty amazing features that we hadn't had before, and the more we looked at it, we found that World's Toughest here would be a really unique and amazing experience. So we brought it out here and have built what is the toughest World's Toughest course that we've ever put on.
Did you have to do that?
Had to do that. After 3 years at Raceway Park, it's been nothing but fighting the weather. This one is fighting the course. There's 800 feet of elevation every single lap. You've got rocky, unconsolidated, loose terrain, a lot of washes throughout the course. You've got to watch your footing constantly, so it's not a sprinter's dream, it's not a marathoner's dream. It's very meticulous, very difficult to navigate.
Now, we were talking a little bit before we started the show, and things have changed. Ken asked about the monkey bars. So if I fall off the monkey bars this year, I just get to go swim to the other end and I'm done, right?
That's what you got away with last year. We had gotten a little soft on World's Toughest. We took away a few of the penalties, but this year it's back in full force. I think I've got 10 obstacles with penalties out there. So
10?
plan on some penalty runs, plan on a few penalty obstacles, if not quite a few, depending on how many laps you want to do.
I'll be wrapping up.
Excellent. Well, I guess let's get into who the competitors are. Thanks, Brady, for sort of making us all a little bit more nervous, I think, than everybody already was.
Really? Thanks.
But let's start off with the team competition. I know a few. Ken's got a lot more information than I do on the team competition, but definitely the biggest conversation in the last month or so has been 3 a.m. waterfalls. Kevin Lasko, one of the anchor members of 3 a.m. Waterfalls, broke his leg and has had surgery within the last month or so, so they had to replace one of their teammates. They're looking strong, though. I know that they were talking about they wanted to break into that triple digits possibly as a team. I heard some rumors early on. So we'll see what happens with a new roster change on 3 a.m. Waterfalls. We've got to talk about Lords of Coventry. They're always here. And then I think a big one is Under Armour Australia. Under Armour has hand-picked their team from Australia. These guys have been in the U.S., they've been at the headquarters, and their team is anchored by the women's winner last year, Deanna Blake. As well, a whole bunch of Spartan racers decided they're going to try Tough Mudder with Death Racers, so this is going to be a little bit different. It's a little out of their wheelhouse, guys. Like, this is going to be
crazy.
It's going to be crazy. They're all really strong athletes, but it's going to be interesting. And we've got the first all-women's team. I don't think they're going to be a competitive factor in the race, but it is neat to note that we have an all-women's team going out there. But Ken, like, what teams do you think we should be looking for out here? I know you've got a little more insight.
Circling back to 3 a.m. Waterfalls, Ben Dickens replaced Kevin Lasko. Kevin Lasko actually won a 100-mile race this summer.
Mm-hmm.
He's an amazing runner. But Ben Dickens last year ran 85 miles. So you can't replace Kevin Lasko, but he's probably the closest you can to come replacing him. So
That's
going
pretty
to
good
be
replacement.
Lords of Coventry, they have 2 changes.
Mm-hmm.
They have 2 really strong runners they added, so that's going to help tremendously. They're always a factor. Under Armour Australia, I mean, on paper, that's a crazy team.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine like a continent tries out for a team. You know, think about that. That's hard to believe. And Spartan team, I mean, they got some really solid players. I don't know their ability for distance, but obviously they're gonna have some people that are really good. Yeah, I'm real excited about Swarm. That was great. Glad to see a women's team. Going for Broke has 4 really solid runners. That's going to be a team we got to look for. Team 4 Eyes are going to be running in their 4th one.
Right, yeah, they are definitely the ones to look out for on course. There aren't many guys that have, well, they have the lenses popped out.
Yeah, neon sunglasses or glasses. Team Wheaties, they said they're
Oh, yeah.
really,
Cool to have out.
really ready this year. I talked to the coach today.
Now, Team Wheaties, was that a hand-picked team by Wheaties
Yeah,
as well?
sponsored by Wheaties, yeah.
So we now have an Under Armour versus a Wheaties team. This is
Get all our
Brady, you've got
sponsors
all your
having teams out there.
Okay. Last year, Team Viking and a brother, they came in 4th. They have 2 new players, and they say they're better than last year, and they're stronger,
yeah.
and they're faster. It's Team Valhalla we got to watch out for. So these are seasoned veterans too. So there's a tremendous amount of teams. To me, there's no clear-cut winner.
But Ken, you got to put money down right now. So if we had to put money down right now,
Well, here's the thing.
you're 2. Let's pick our top 2.
Okay, because I have a lot of friends in the group.
Yeah.
I don't want somebody getting mad at me.
Based off the numbers, we're just looking at numbers right now.
Well, I can't go against 3M Waterfalls.
Mm-hmm.
And based on being so stacked, I'm probably going to go with Team Australia as top 2. How about you, Brady?
I'd love to see Australia up there. It sounds like a really cool group coming from handpicking by Under Armour. It sounds like they've got a really good chance.
Yeah, they actually had a tryout, and the best people in all of Australia tried out. And that some of the people that didn't make the cut were unbelievable racers.
And I know that I spoke with Deanna earlier this fall about the team being on Team Under Armour, and she said that some of those guys that she's on the team with, she's adventure raced with as well. So they already know how to race as a team for 24 hours. So I think they're going to have advantage that most newbie teams have,
Yeah.
that they know each other, that they've raced with each other. So I gotta say, Ken, I think we're gonna see 3AM Waterfalls again, and Under Armour Australia really fighting it out. But as Brady can attest, anything can happen in 24 hours.
Anything can happen, especially with this course. There's
Yeah.
a lot of unknowns out there that they haven't seen
one wrong
before.
step.
Yeah. Now, Brady, is there anything on the course, you don't have to divulge anything, but are there any obstacles that are going to benefit being on a team versus racing as an individual?
So as most Tough Mudders know, there's always those few obstacles where you're going to need help, especially later in the race. You've got walls to get over, you've got Mud Mile to get through, you've got Everest to get up and over, which are always pivotal to have the team with you. It's always good to see the teamwork aspect, even if you're not on a team. Seeing Pac on top of Everest for 10-15 minutes last year helping pull up people was pretty amazing. But it's that the technique that will be able to be shared within teams that is pivotal on this course. We've got several new obstacles that people have never seen, never tried. Different ways to get over and through obstacles that are interesting to say the least. So being able to share how to get through them and how to perform them. There's going to be some people out there a little bit confused on the first lap on how do I get through this, how do I get over this.
Well,
I don't know
first
what
lap.
this is.
Second lap.
Second lap, sorry. First lap with obstacles. We threw some curveballs out there.
Excellent. I'm ready to see those. I think we all are, or anticipating to see those. But let's move on to the women's race, which I think before we even talk about the women that are competing, is probably the hardest race to call right now. We've got Deanna Blake, as we just talked about. She's on the team. She's out of the women's individual race. She's on the team. And Amelia Boone, she's coming back from injury. We can't discredit Amelia, but she is coming back from injury, so and from surgery just 6 weeks ago. We've got a bunch of contenders that are coming back from last year, and then I think we've got to talk about Freya Bartuska, who has done several 100-milers this year. She was supposed to come last year. She got injured. She came in second at Sawtooth, a 103-mile race this year, which had many elite ultra runners at it. So obviously she's fast. She says she likes the hills. Brady, she is looking forward to
We
the
got hills for her.
elevation. She came in 7th at the Georgia Death Race, which is a 63-mile race. I believe it's a funny distance.
Very mountainous too.
Very mountainous, and she came 3rd this year at Dance's Dirt 50-miler, and then 9th at the Kettle 100 this year, and she came 2nd at Warrior Dash. So obviously 2nd at Warrior Dash gets her, and she's run Tough Mudders before, so it's not like she's coming in totally foreign to Tough Mudder. She knows Tough Mudder. She knows how to run a long distance. We gotta talk about Freya. And Amy Pagic is back. She came in 3rd last year. She just came in 3rd at OCR World Championships.
Magic Pagic.
Magic Pagic.
That's right.
We've seen her on American Ninja Warrior. And then I got a late thing from Juliana Sproles, who's in Australia, is telling us who her woman to watch out for was Alison Tye. You can never discredit those Canadians. They like cold water, I guess.
You surprised us last year.
Juliana promised me she's coming back next year, though.
That's what she said earlier tonight on a couple messages. So Ken, I know you've got some other picks, some dark horses. Tell me, who did I miss?
Hold on a second. Okay. One dark horse is Shinoa. Okay. One dark horse is Shinoa Greer, the Wolf. She's being sponsored by Obstacle Racing Media, and she's going to be a solid contender.
Yeah, she has run every single, I think, type of obstacle race that you could ever run, and for everything from like Billy Bob's backyard race up to championship level races. So definitely.
She told me she's ready to go,
Excellent.
and she knows the area. She's been here. She's from here.
Mm-hmm.
Another person, Heather Ferguson. She ran 50 miles in 2012, and then had a baby last year. So
So she's got a little,
Took her own time.
Back from the baby.
yeah, so she's definitely a solid player. Morgan McKay.
Morgan is fired up. I've had some side conversations with her as well, and she is ready to go. She had a disappointing last year. She ended up, I think it was about her 3rd lap in, she started uncontrollably vomiting and had some stomach issues that she ended up having to pull herself out of the race really early on, and she's
I would have
figured
to
those
say,
out.
in our Facebook group, she's probably the most excited person of everybody.
Yes. And she said she's figured out her stomach issues, so she's ready to go fully.
Christy McBride, she had a baby 9 weeks ago, but I think she's going to bounce back.
The baby mojo, you know,
All got the
there's
babies.
famous marathoner who actually, I'm blanking on her name right now, but I know she even, supposedly this story, she breastfed her child like in the middle of this marathon or ultra marathon, and then kept going to like hit a podium spot. So just because you have a baby doesn't mean that you're slowing down at all.
She's definitely not complaining about it, and she said she's ready to go. She came in 5th last year.
The baby will have to buy a pit crew's pass to get into the
Now,
You have no.
Maybe we'll let him buy.
the ageless Lauren Andrews,
True.
she's 50 years old this year, and she said she's going to totally blow the course out of the water. Said if I don't get hurt, watch this, I'm going to kick some ass.
I remember her
Exact
last year.
words.
Her determination on course was unflappable for 24 hours.
Yeah, she came in 8th, and when she was 49.
Mm-hmm. So Brady, do you have anything to add for the women as well?
I'm just excited to see how well they can compete with the men. With the different format, having a lot of elevation, a lot of water, maybe it'll surprise us, and maybe we'll have our first year where a woman is top dog.
That I think, Ken, that would probably freak out half of the World's Toughest Mudder community, because I
would
think
love
more
that.
than one
I would love
person,
that.
more than one person said a man will win the race.
Amelia came close in 2012. There's nothing saying a woman can't do it again.
That would be wonderful.
I think that with the level of women we have competing this year, they are just as strong overall as a group as the men are. So it could happen. Anything could happen. It's World
Never
Cup
know.
Smart. Anything could happen. I think that's the phrase. That should be the new catchphrase.
The new tagline,
Yeah.
anything can happen.
But I think what we need to move on to is the most talked about, the most anticipated, the men's race. This race, you know, the men's race gets all the talk. We've got Pac, who is coming back. He's won this race twice before. He came in second last year. He has a huge fire under his belly to come back and just destroy this course. He spent his whole year training once again for this race, and he posted on Facebook pretty boldly that said he is not only in the best shape that he's in right now, but he's in the best shape he's ever been at any point of his life.
Yeah. I spoke to Pac today on the phone, and he actually ran 2 weeks ago 150 miles in 1 week. He's pretty ripped.
He's ready.
Prepared.
He's ready. It's going to be interesting to see, though. He hasn't been performing as great, though, once he gets into the race at the last couple of big races throughout this fall. Maybe he's been saving it all for World's Toughest Mudder, and we're just going to see it all explode out here at World's Toughest Mudder. Or maybe sometimes that pressure has been getting into his head. I don't know what it is, but all I know is that, at least online, his confidence is high, and he is ready to go.
Right. You have to think, too, 8 or 10 or 12 miles versus 100.
Exactly.
Big difference.
Exactly. So then we got to move on to Atkins second. He has had a stellar season. Ryan Atkins, he's the reigning World's Toughest Mudder champion for another less than 36 hours.
Back for more.
And he's back for more to defend his title. He is the only person who has done all 4 obstacle racing championship races this year. So he's been on a really tough schedule, but he's always ready to go. I mean, he does for training. He went to Vermont for fun, just on a whim, and ran 100 miles in a day, just as a training day for fun. He is in a whole nother stellar sphere of what his level of fun is. And he's been hiking, I just saw on Facebook, for the last week in Zion and Bryce Canyon. While everybody else has
Can't keep him down.
Yeah, everyone else has been worried about their carb intake, he's been hiking.
Right. What he does is he gets his dog, and they get a backpack. He gets a backpack, his dog does, and they go in the mountains in Canada and go mountain after mountain after mountain. And he has fun.
Yeah.
It's fun for him.
And and that's the thing, is he's always having fun.
Yeah. He's a very humble guy, too.
Mhm.
Very, very humble.
Mm-hmm.
I like to see that.
And he'll probably be smiling on the course. And again, he's a guy that'll just help you out on course as well. But I guess the dark horse, who really isn't a dark horse to those of us that have been sort of in the ultra running world, but Nick Holland, unbelievable. For those that don't know him, he's actually the youngest ever Badwater finisher. He has done the Devil's Double in Nicaragua, which is part of the Survival Run series, where he did the full Survival Run, which is a 70-kilometer race, 20 hours, obstacles along the way, like climbing trees, building things, carrying stuff, all sorts of crazy different things that you have to do. And then 3 days later ran 100K and won that 100K as well. So he can run the distance. He did Tour de France this year, which is a 200-mile race. He finished second in that this year and ran that in about 78 hours.
Wow.
So he's got the feet to do it. He likes the off-the-beaten-path, really hard races. He's a Barkley Marathons finisher, which less than 20 people have ever finished that since 1987.
Yeah.
That alone, you can't discredit him. But he's never done World's Toughest Mudder before. The Survival Run series and Fuego y Agua events have so much confidence in them that Josue Stevens, who owns that race series, has actually sponsored him to come here and do this race. So Josue, and he's been around obstacle racing, he's got such confidence that he's actually sponsored Nick to come here. So
It's an impressive resume that should lend itself well to this course.
But he's never done.
But he's never done it.
I mean,
never
he's
done
got
it
some
before.
set of wheels, but it's all coming down to upper body, too.
Yeah, he's
I don't-
not built
I-
like a typical. He's not built like a typical runner he's got a pretty big upper body, and he trains with Joe Decker in San Diego
Right.
of Gut Check Fitness.
But even if he hasn't run a Tough Mudder before, we've got so many new obstacles that most people have never run through many of these obstacles. So it kind of levels the playing field.
Excellent. Oh, Ken, who else do you have on the men's side?
I have a couple people. Jarrett Newby, he's coming back. He has always had a strong showing. Jared Pace from Australia.
Mhm.
He was hurt last year. He was devastated, but he's coming back. He said the greatest shape he's ever been in. So he's really, really solid player. Harrison Mitchell Lessons. He said he's in top shape. He's good to go. He's run some different races
Yeah.
before.
And he always has a smile. He will be another one of those guys out there that will be smiling through the whole thing with his USA cap on.
Yeah, exactly. There's a guy from Scotland. He's another very quiet, humble guy, Scott Brown. 10th in 2012. He was in 3rd place in 8 hours in 2013, and he had to pull for an injury.
Oh,
He's
okay.
right behind in 3rd place, so he's a solid player. There's a guy named Jason Reardon from Australia. That's supposed to be a real beast, too. And I think that's about it. All in my notes. Okay. So it should be really good. It's going to
Yeah.
be incredible.
Forward to it.
So Ken and Brady, I mean, it's great to talk about all the competitiveness of this, and this is really the Tough Mudder is not really a race most of the year, except for World's Toughest Mudder, which is a race. So, Ken, who are the other competitors that are out here that really we should recognize for their different achievements?
Right. First of all, I'd like to recognize, obviously, Jim Campbell, the GOAT. This guy, you know, he's 50 years old, and he actually did 50 Tough Mudder events, not laps, 50 Tough Mudder events. First person on earth to ever do that. And he's such a big supporter of Tough Mudder. He's always talking about it and always living it. So he's a really, really important guy with us. Somebody else I want to recognize is Matty Gregg. He raised $30,000 this year for Wounded Warrior Project. $30,000. One person.
It's been unbelievable.
That's amazing. Somebody else I want to recognize, there's 3 people. Our top Legionnaires for the year are Joe Perry, Devin Musco, and Eric Jenkins.
I think they're road warriors. We see them out there every single
They are such road warriors, and they're out there. If you're at a Tough Mudder, you're probably going to see one or more of them. They're always out there, and they're always promoting the brand and talking it up and getting people to sign up and running the races. So
And
those,
Devin was the first woman to hit 50
Exactly.
races as
Exactly.
well.
and those are our 3 Legionnaires that are going to lead us to the pit when we sign in. They get
Excellent.
first pick.
It's awesome.
They deserve it.
And that's great. And it's really, that's one of the things that's great about Tough Mudder, that even though we're here for this race, and once we go off the starting line, everybody's out there, and everybody's out there for a little bit different reason, but there's still this camaraderie even within that full 24 hours, and then it extends online. And Ken sometimes has to wrangle everybody in online, but
Sometimes. A lot of them.
a wily community.
But I think, Ken, we also have to thank you for all the work that you've done.
Thank you.
And I think
My
that
pleasure.
anybody watching this will agree that you put in tremendous amount of time
Yeah.
with Tough Mudder, working with these guys behind the scenes,
Yeah.
trying to make it so it's
My
a
buddy
better
right here.
experience.
Well, when I get something done, I give him a
Yeah.
jingle.
And I guess, Brady, what's some last words of advice for the participants this weekend that you have? Is there like evil laugh in your brain right now?
It's definitely the little evil laughter. Be humble in your expectations. It is a beast of a course, and if you don't respect it, it will take its toll real quick. A lot more difficult than we've seen in the past. A lot more elevation, a lot more water, more difficult obstacles. So just be ready for it and just respect it.
Before I let you go, do you think we're going to see triple digits this year?
We had a little pool amongst Team HQ staff, and I think our current odds of anyone hitting 100 miles is sitting somewhere around 200 to 1. So
The bar
I don't think it's gonna happen.
And boom, right there. Tough Mudder HQ, it sounds like, is betting against anybody hitting those triple-digit numbers. So maybe it's time for everybody to readjust what they thought they were going to be doing.
Get ready for a tough one.
Well, thank you so much, guys. That's just about it from us here at Lake Las Vegas. Follow all the action. Tough Mudder is going to be putting on a live broadcast starting tomorrow, Friday morning, 10 a.m., going all the way through the race.
Yep.
And you can follow that stream online. For all of those racing, Ken, myself, and the rest of the 1,200 or so.
Right around 1,200 should be out there.
Right around 1,200 or so dedicated athletes. We all start at Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Get online. If you can't be here, follow what's going on. If you are here, come by, check out the course, cheer on your favorite mudder. And that's it. Thanks, guys.
Good luck.
And have a great night.